Hey guys, welcome to the Wilkie Experience. Oh my god, I forgot my headphones. Let me put my headphones on, yo. Hey guys, welcome back to the Wilkie Experience. For those that are joining us for the first time, welcome. I am Will K, and for those that are returning, thank you for staying tuned. Today is the real one speaking to the real one. That's why today's episode is sponsored by Rock263. ROC meaning real ones can. Only the real ones can. Shout out Terry G and Image Cube. But anyway, I don't usually do this, but Terry G is my homie, as you guys can tell. But anyway, guys, one thing has been bothering me for quite a bit now. See, the thing is, we talk to ourselves in our heads. We're always in our heads. That's a given. I talk to myself all the time. But outside of that, I give a lot of encouragement. I am definitely always, speaking life into somebody else and all those good things. But with my previous video, if for those who watched it, I wanted to take time to thank me. I wanted to take time to thank me for being me. That being the first thing. Thank you, Will, for being you. Actually, let me talk to myself. Dear Will, thank you for being you. Thank you for knowing when to stop. Thank you for knowing when to start. Thank you for everything that has brought you thus far. The reason why I'm thanking me is because we don't give ourselves enough credit for the things that we do. This life is not as easy as most people think, right? So take, for example, me, right? Because I'm part-time motivational speaker, people just assume that everything's always fine in my world, nothing goes wrong, and all that. It's basically, always good. For me, I see the times when, my world is falling apart and I have to keep it together. I keep it together, and I can only keep it together for me, and I'm the only person who's there for me at that time. Not that there aren't people that can't be there for me, but simply because, I am me. I love being me. I love being there for me. So I do what I gotta do, and we make it work. I've had a tough 2021 so far, and I'm always very vocal about it because at the end of the day, yes, I've had people on my side, but no matter what they say, it wouldn't be anything without me putting in the work that I put in to make sure that whatever they've said, I actually take it, I apply it. And this life, being in this life is actually tougher than most people think. But it's totally fine at the end of the day because I get to do what I want to do because I know myself. I'm very in touch with how I feel. I'm very in touch with my everything, actually, be it feelings, be it thoughts and everything. I go through my emotions. Like, I literally go through the motions, and I allow myself to feel, which is one thing that people don't actually, do quite a lot of, is allowing themselves to feel. So, look, for me, at the end of the day, it's stuff like that. It's stuff like that keeps me going. Being able to feel, being able to be me, being able to not have to pretend to be who I'm not, because there is no reason to pretend to be who I'm not. I think being who you're not is actually an extra. Yeah, that's a job. That's a job. And for me, I'll require a 9-to-5 salary. Actually, I'll need a 24-hour salary for that if I was pretending to be who I am or what I'm not, because it's a whole job. It's like, take for example, lying. Lying is actually such a job. It's actually disturbing. Because first of all, when you lie, you have to remember what you lied about. And then, after, and the worst part is you always forget. That's the problem. And then when you're caught that you're lying, you have to come up with a better lie to discredit the first thing that you said, which was a lie, but you got caught. And then you just keep on doing it. And then that's a job. But you know what? But when you don't care how the truth comes out or how it comes off, and you're just always real, look, at the end of the day, you can be whoever you want to be. You can say whatever you want to say, and it all works out. It really does. It really does. And it's an easier job. But let me take you back real quick to that point where, I'm talking to myself, obviously, the mental stamina is one of the most important things that you, Willard, have established. Obviously your attitude has definitely been your makeup this whole time. You've understood that what consumes your mind controls your life, because so many a time it's the things that we think about that then take over and put us in a position where we make certain decisions simply from what we think about. So definitely, just knowing what controls your mind will definitely control your life. Has been something that's always been there, something that's always been on your mind, and you've been very conscious about it to a point where you've never let failure control your life, simply because Willard, that failing is just your first attempt in learning. And being married to failure and embracing it is what has brought about the big wins through and through. Understanding that the man who never makes a mistake is the man who never does anything. If you don't make a mistake, then you don't do anything. There's no way you're guaranteed 100% that whatever you do is going to work out. That's number one. And when you do fail, it's a part of life. My mentor always used to say to me, fail stands for first attempt in learning, which is actually the truth, if you ask me. And it's crazy when you think about it. The man who never makes a mistake is the man who never does anything. Wow. That just hit me hard. It just took me back there. Your ability to not go around looking for spare change just to buy into people's opinions of you or anything else, that's incredible. That's remarkable. Because so many a time we all just sit there and consume people's opinions of us, and half the time it's things that they probably don't even know. It's probably things they don't even know, but we're just there taking it in. We take it all in, and guess what happens at the end of the day? It damages us. Yet they're fine with their lives and doing whatever they're doing. We're in a position where it's affecting us. It's really, really affecting us. And we just don't see it. Then we start asking ourselves, where's all this coming from? Forgetting that we've gone around looking for spare change to buy into other people's opinions. That's madness. It's madness. Having 24 hours in a day, to determine what goes down next in your life. 24 hours determining who and what you're going to be tomorrow. Understanding that, executing, and being in a position where you know that you can sleep less and work more. You can be more effective. You can work smarter, not harder. All those things. Just putting it in a 24-hour bubble. That's probably been the best thing you've done for yourself. Just realizing that life is lived a day at a time. Not 2 days, 2 weeks, a month at a time, but a day at a time. Knowing that you shouldn't dim your light for anybody. Those who are getting blinded by your light, ask them to put a pair of shades on. Get a pair of shades. Because my life is not going to dim for nobody. That's one thing. That's another thing, actually, because there's so many things that I've learned. it's kind of confusing speaking in third person, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, hey, yo, Willard, but it's me talking to me. But, it's one of those. Keeping my eyes on the prize. That's always been a big one for me. Keeping the eye on the prize. So that the growth and change is intentional. Keeping my eyes on the prize. It's always very distracting when you got so much going on. There's so much going on, so much good going on, so much bad going on and all that. It's very easy to get distracted, but keeping your eyes on the prize would definitely keep you grounded. Being open to changing in unforeseen ways. See, the thing is, most people think that, you can always predict change. But because of the things that you see, the things that you internalize, and the things that you do, change is inevitable, yes. But the change, you don't really see it half the time. You should allow yourself to change in unforeseen ways, and that's one thing that you've done. I like that. I really like that. It's mad. It's actually mad. We've come to a point where, wow, we've evolved in ways that we never thought would evolve. And we're here now. It all goes back to that mental stamina I was talking about, because, one of my favorite quotes is actually, the same boiling water that softens the potato hardens the egg. And it goes on to say, it's not about the circumstance, but rather what you're made of. Madness. I want to repeat that again. Guys, take note. Take a note of this. The same boiling water that softens the potato hardens the egg, which is facts. And goes on to say, it's not about the circumstance, but rather what you're made of. It's madness. Mad thing. And that's always something that I've known. It's never about the circumstance. It's about what you're made of. Are you built for this? Maybe not in the beginning. Can you learn to be built for certain situations? Yes. Can you learn to be built for all situations? No. But it's your character. When your character is tested, I always say to people, when something's going on in their lives, like this is where your character is tested. This is where, where your faith is tested. This is where you determine who you are. Even when you're in the gutter, some people are looking at the stars. Some people are just in the gutter and they're stuck in there and they're seeing darkness. But even in the gutter, some people are looking at the stars. That's one thing that separates a lot of people. Just how positive are you? How optimistic are you? How pessimistic are you? That's where we draw the line. Not compromising. That's definitely one. That's definitely something else. Not compromising. Not compromising anything for anybody. My mentor always used to say to me, if you have to stop being all of you to be half of a couple, then the price is too high. If you have to stop being all of you, no. He used to go, okay, the actual quote says, if I'm not mistaken, it goes, if you have to stop being all of who you are to be half of a couple, then the price is too high. You, Willard, you've always known when the price is too high. So thank you for not compromising. Thank you for keeping your value. It's crazy because, just the other day we were having so we recorded, guys, I've got a new podcast. We've got a new podcast coming out. It's called When Men Talk. And we were talking about what it is being a man. And then, I then remembered something that I always used to hear when I was growing up. The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. I just really thought of that, because it's kind of similar to, like that whole, the egg and the potato, the same boiling water that softens the potato, hardens the egg. It's the same thing. Like that's like when we start to measure a man, he stunts in hard times. Madness. But anyway, what else, Will K? What else? Knowing that without persistence, you'll never start. When you're trying to start something and God knows, only God knows how many times I've tried to start something and, it's just being blocked in one way or the other. But at the end of the day, everything turns out real good. Everything works out. Everything works out. I always say start where you are. And, that's one thing I've definitely internalized. Start where you are. Just even this podcast, this podcast, I had to start where I was, with no equipment, nothing. As long as I could get my voice out there to you guys, that's how it all started. And obviously, just committing. Because, I think the actual thing goes, without persistence, you never start. Without commitment, you'll never finish. Because, you could start, you could be persistent and start something, but if you're not committed to it, you're obviously not going to finish. And that's one thing I've definitely learned that, over time. And I've also learned that, if one dream was to fall and break into 1,000 pieces, I should never be afraid to pick up one piece and begin again. It may seem like you're going so well and then the whole dream falls apart. But if you believe in your dream and you believe in yourself, picking that up and going at it again, that's definitely something I've learned over time. I've learned so much, actually, over time. Wow. I'm actually just thinking about it. Crazy enough. Do I was telling people that for each season of my life, I actually have certain verses, because obviously I'm Christian and I have certain verses that, just keep me going. I believe for the longest time, actually, one of my verses was Luke 1 verse 37, which says, "For with God nothing will be impossible." Be it I was playing sport, be it I was doing business, whatever, I used to, recite that verse all the time. All the time. Because what consumes your mind controls your life. And, that's what I used to live by. And then in due time, we evolved to Jeremiah 29:11, Isaiah 40 verse 31, Psalms 20 verse 4, Romans 8 verse 28, Romans 12 verse 2, Ephesians 3 verse 20. Those are my verses. And the one thing that that really kept me going, you know what it was? The one thing that really kept me going was this one quote. I don't even know where I found it, guys. And it simply says, God didn't promise days without pain, laughter without sorrow, sun without rain, but he did promise strength for the day, comfort for the tears, and light for the way. I've shared this with so many of my friends. No matter what happens in this life, no matter what you're going through, no matter what, just being in a space where you believe what I just quoted here, knowing that God is always there, that's what has brought us here. That's how we are here. That's how Will K is still here. It's actually mad. It's actually mad. I'm actually thinking about it now. It's mad because, there's just so much. Wow. But anyway, guys, listen. From Will K to Will K, thank you. These are life lessons. These are notes to myself, because sometimes we really forget. We really forget to just sit down and be us.
sit down and see where we've come, sit down and see what we've achieved. Not so that we can sit back and relax and think, oh yeah, we've done it all. Nah, it's not that. Just us sitting there and, being in a position where, it is done. It is done. This is what I've achieved. This is what I've learned. Let me build myself in this way. Let me build myself in that way. We forget all that. Anyway, let me not bore you guys to death. So, thanks for tuning in, guys. This episode was definitely a note to self. This was me talking to me. Because that's one thing we forget to do. We forget to speak positivity. We forget to reflect. Actually, that's one of my cheat codes, actually. One of my cheat codes has always been reflection. I reflect a lot. So my reflection process, quickly, let me just tell you my reflection process, right? My reflection process goes, so the first thing I do is I look at what went right during the day. The second process is I look at what went wrong. And then the third process is I try and figure out how to make sure that what went wrong will go right the next time. I do that all the time. I just put all my cards on the table. And it's not like I sit down and I'm like, okay, I'm reflecting now. It just happens subconsciously. I mean, maybe in the beginning, as you're going, you might have to. But in due time, it just becomes a part of you. And, you're just reflecting as you're going throughout the day. You're reflecting actually as things happen, But that's definitely something that has really put me in a better spot, put me in, put me where I'm at now. So, yeah, guys. Anyway, guys, find me on social media. I am at Willard Kachere everywhere. So at WILLARD KACHERE. Or find me on my website, willardkachere.com. Hit me up. Talk to me, guys. Talk to me. Let me know what you guys want me to talk about, want me to address, or who you want as a guest on the Willard Kachere Experience. But for now, it's goodbye until next week, Wednesday.